What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Puncher's Point. There ain't nothing more to say, man. We said it. If she wins the heavyweight championship, she is the undisputed GWOAT. We talked about her and Lil Ali. I think she solidified it, man. Claressa Shields defeats Vanessa Lepage Joanisse by second round KO. Shocking second round KO. Look, the reason why it's so shocking is because a lot of us knew that Claressa Shields was going to win. We just thought it would be by unanimous decision. I mean, when you think about the record in itself before this fight, 14-0, two knockouts. The other 12 fights went to decision. So for her to move up in weight to heavyweight and to challenge somebody with a good chin like Vanessa Lepage Joanisse, whose only knockout was a TKO and she didn't fall, that's very impressive. And it was a very, very impressive win. Now, here's what I will say. I do want to start off with game plan. And the reason why I want to start off with game plan, obviously, like we always do, is because I personally want to take the first. I personally want to break them down first and talk about game plan because when I was looking at the keys to victory, when I was talking about Claressa Shields, we talked about how she needed to use power punches more, and she did that. We talked about how she needed to apply the pressure. She did not do that. And then we said she needed to counter on Vanessa Lepage Joannisse's strengths, or my bad, weaknesses, excuse me, and mistakes. And she did that. And so to me, out of the keys to victory, Claressa Shields got 2 out of 3 in them, and just 2 of them is all it took for her to beat Vanessa Lepage. Now, as far as Vanessa Lepage, it's very interesting because I'm gonna come out here and admit it. I was wrong about the break about what Vanessa Lepage had to do. I was wrong, Breezy. I said, and I quote, I wrote it down right here. Chain your punches together, which she did. If you looked at the fight when she was coming forward, Vanessa Lepage was chaining her punches together. She wasn't just throwing 1 or 2 punches. It seemed like she was coming forward and throwing her punches in bunches, which is what I talked about her doing. She did that. Compact Clarissa's space. She did that perfectly fine. I mean, she had Claressa on the ropes a couple times as well. Well, she was backing her up a little bit against those ropes. Not that Claressa wasn't any damage, but she was backing her up against those ropes a little bit, and she was compacting the space on Claressa. But Claressa did a very good job of countering, slipping, and switching angles, and then slipped a jab and counter. Now, the reason why that was such a big one, well, I will say this. In the first round, you could tell that the jab was definitely getting her. Um, that would be the one that I think she could have did a little bit better. But even if she slipped the jab breezy, it wasn't going to matter because Claressa Shields, I mean, that right hand was connecting, and there were even times where she was checking her with the left hook. There was even times where Claressa Shields would just counter and switch angles, and it just seemed like Joanisse was not ready for that. And we read the comments. A lot of y'all were right in the sense of that. A lot of y'all were talking about how Claressa Shields' speed was just too much for Joanna. So you know what? Just like we like to give each other credit if we get something right, we're the first ones to admit when we were wrong. I personally say that my keys to victory were wrong. And we want to give y'all credit as well. Shout out to y'all who were in the comments saying that Claressa Shields was going to be too fast for her because that was the outcome of this fight. So shout out to y'all. As far as game plan, man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give this a 7. I'm gonna give this a 7 overall. I think that as far as Claressa Shields' game plan, it was pretty simple. She was more composed. She took advantage of the mistakes that Vanessa made. She was able to counterpunch very, very well, and she used more than just a jab. She used her power punches. And we see now what Claressa Shields is made of when she uses those power punches and she doesn't just rely on that jab. So as far as Claressa Shields, I gotta give her a 7. Joanisse, I don't think her game plan was that bad. I just think Claressa was ready. I believe she took advantage of Vanessa Lepage coming forward, and overall, she just capitalized on it, and Vanessa had no answer for it. So, game plan, I'm gonna give it a 7, Breezy.
Congrats to Claressa Shields on her KO. A lot of people like to kind of like pick with her about her knockout power, kind of like how they do Devin Haney. And it's crazy because you would think in a sport like boxing, that wouldn't really matter too much since the keys to this sport is the sweet science, right? But see, what people gotta understand, Claressa Shields always had skills. We always knew that. Claressa Shields always had speed. We also knew that. We also knew Claressa Shields, she carried a lot of weight on her. And, you know, moving to a division like that, knowing that she already carries a certain amount of weight, they can produce, you know, some more power. For some fighters, it may take it away, and for some, it may enhance it. Now, I bet nobody, and I mean nobody, had this fight ending in this manner, especially that early. The fact that Claressa Shields was able to be patient, I think you could tell Claressa Shields was kind of already in there knowing, engaging, like what kind of fight it was going to be. She kind of was aware of Vanessa's, attacks and style. It was the simple basic of it was a simple basic of reacting, defense, patience, being calm, cool, calm, and collected, and like Mario said, picking out on the space, which we mentioned that Claressa Shields is really good at, is picking up on mistakes and counterpunching. I would give Claressa Shields, I give it about an 8. Real calm, cool, composed. You can see she wasn't too aggressive. She was kind of sitting back there waiting to see if Vanessa was gonna make the mistake, and course she did, and she caught her. And it happens sometimes in this sport. It happens in MMA. Sometimes you could be winning the fight. Sometimes the fight could be so early, and you start off with a nice jab. You start off you using movement, and you just get caught with the wrong punch, and the punch you don't see hurt the most. So it happens. You get caught. So no need for Vanessa to hold her head down. But congratulations to Claressa Shields. Duh, GWOAT.
Let's get to excitement. This was a very exciting fight for as long as it lasted. It didn't last that long. Obviously, it was only 2 rounds. However, for as long as it lasted, it was a very exciting fight. I thought that it was going to be boring because the first part of the first round was kind of, a little bit slow, but Claressa started picking up the pace and she started picking up the speed. And then come round two, that's when we started getting the first knockdown, and then the second knockdown, and then eventually the third knockdown. It was it. It was game over, and it only lasted 2 rounds, man. But overall excitement, I got to give this an 8. This was a very, very exciting fight, man. And I think that Clarissa's pressure made it very exciting. I believe that the outcome was shocking, which makes it even more exciting. And I believe that Claressa Shields doing it in Detroit made it exciting as well. And just the way the fight played out, I honestly think that this was a very, what's the word I'm looking for? The crowd was riled up. They were fired up. I mean, this fight had some great moments, and I think that
Anticipating is the word you're looking for. Anticipating.
anticipation had a lot of anticipation before the fight. Honestly, dude, when you really look at it, this is going to be a big moment in Claressa Shields' career when it's all said and done, when Claressa Shields retires and we announce her as a Hall of Famer and we talk about moments in her career. This is going to go up there. I mean, talking about becoming a world heavyweight champion, that is something huge for any fighter, man or a woman. So overall, man, I got to give it an 8. I think this was a very exciting fight, and I think Claressa bringing the heat, bringing the fight, and making it an exciting fight in front of her home crowd, Detroit, I think that just made it even better. So I'm gonna give it an 8.
I give it an 8 too. What better way to have it than a fighter coming to their hometown, having a fight, and then picking up a win, but not just any win, but a stoppage win. That's probably like plus 10, plus 10, plus 10 all over the board, you know? And this is why a lot of people really show out at these kind of fights, where it's like hometown fights for names like, Claressa Shields, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, yours truly, Teofimo Lopez, and Steve Claggett. All jokes aside. But when people have these kind of fights, it's very anticipated because guess what? It brings the city together. It brings everybody together to watch a fight on the weekend and watch, the town's most biggest star, Omaha, Terrence Crawford. I mean, just to throw another name in there. So these kind of fights usually do make for the most exciting fights. You get the whole city, the fans, the family riled up, and you make fireworks out of it. So I agree. I give it about an 8.
And I think the only reason why I wouldn't give it anywhere above an 8 is because of how short it was. I believe if this fight did go longer and it was kind of a little bit more back and forth, if Vanessa Lepage had a couple more moments or a little bit more time to showcase some of her skill, I think it would have made it more of an exciting fight, but it didn't work out that way. So I got to give it an 8. Overall, let's go to stakes. Now, as far as stakes, man, the stakes are pretty big too. I gotta put the stakes up there at, I gotta put it at a 9. I think the stakes are at a 9 when you really look at it. I mean, Claressa Shields, she's already been multiple undisputed. She's already won multiple Olympic gold medals, undefeated. She put her undefeated record on the line. It's in Detroit, so God forbid, the decision went the other way around. It would have been something pretty drastic. But as far as the stakes, I mean, you got the WBC heavyweight championship on the line. Shields is the GWOAT. It was her and Layla Ali, and I think she proved that she is the GWOAT. So with everything that was on the line, especially for women's boxing, and as far as being a trailblazer, I mean, Claressa Shields proved that you could climb up those weight classes and you can achieve greatness. And so I believe with all the stakes that were on the line, and if she lost, I think it would have been pretty drastic. I got to give it a 9, man. I think the stakes were pretty huge in this fight. And I think that when the lights shine when the lights shine the brightest, excuse me, Claressa Shields delivered. So I got to give it a 9.
I agree with Mario once again. You put the debut at stake. You put the title at stake. You put the fact that it's a hometown fight at stake. All those make up for the great stakes. Now, as far as the boxing wise, new champ, another accolade to add to the resume of Claressa Shields, and not only that too, but she puts the heavyweight division on notice, and anybody around that division. Now she's even more so solidify herself as a problem, a true problem. You know, we seen Claressa Shields go from T-Rex Shield to the GWOAT Shield, so we didn't see the drastic change. So she is who she is. She's the GWOAT, and like I said, to the divas, to the women's heavyweight division, y'all have a problem on y'all hands, and it's coming straight out of Detroit. Straight. Well, Flint. I'm sorry. I got mixed up for a second. Forgive me, y'all. But y'all got a problem on y'all hand. Look. I'm just saying right now. I'm just saying right now. If she hitting like that, plus the skills she already got, y'all are in for a world of trouble. And look, y'all know I like Alicia Baumgartner, but look, Alicia, I'm just gonna say it right now. Heavyweight Claressa Shields and you. Nah, we're not gonna do that. We gonna let it be what it's gonna be. We gonna let them be in their own field and whatnot. We ain't gonna do that. But heavyweight, y'all got a problem on your hands by the name Vanessa Shit.
Last but not least, impact. How does this impact the sport of boxing or women's boxing? How does it impact the division? Impact the division, I mean, we got a new champion. Impact the sport of boxing. Claressa Shields just solidified her number one spot in the pound for pound ranks. She just solidified herself as the number one women's boxer of all time. I mean, when we really think about it, can we give the impact anything more than a 10? And on top of that, because Claressa Shields has proven she can go from 150 all the way up to heavyweight, she can make any fight she wants. At any catch weight she wants, whatever the case might be. If she wants to go down and do some, she can do that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't suggest it because that is sometimes unhealthy for a fighter. But as far as impact, man, I got to give it a 10. I mean, this impacted women's boxing crazily, and I think it impacts women's boxing a lot more than what people think. So overall, man, y'all be talking about Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, Alicia Bumgarner. Those women are great, but I'm sorry, it's been proven the number one women's boxer of all time, the GWOAT herself, Claressa Shields, has solidified that spot. So I got to give it a 10. I think this is a huge impact on women's boxing and boxing in general.
I say a 10 too. Like I said, new division, new champ, new name. And like I said, for all you women at the heavyweight division, y'all better watch out now. Y'all better watch out now. Cause I'm just gonna say this right now. Um if she if we started getting performances like that, I don't know what to say about the heavyweight division. Y'all might if we keep getting performances like that, she just might clear the whole division out. But who am I to say? But what I will say is this was a 10 in my personal opinion to agree with Mario once again. Like I said, she came out and she showed out and she put on for the town, for the city. What better way to do it than doing it in front of your people and doing it in that fashion? So I say, hey, it's very important to the sport of boxing. Of course, like Mario said, uplifts women boxing. We see times where women's sports tend to get, not as much love as praise as the men's sports. But as far as women's sports, I will say boxing is probably in the lead right now when it comes to women's sports. Maybe college basketball at second, then women's MMA, UFC. But right now it's boxing, no doubt. And you gotta give it to the names like Claressa Shields, the Amanda Serranos and whatnot, and the Bumgarners to an extent. But this is about Claressa Shields. Congrats, Claressa Shields. I give it a 10 all the way around on the board.
Like women's gymnastics is up there as well. I mean, women's tennis has always been big. So there's a few of them, but I agree. Women's boxing is definitely taking storm. With that being said, we graded the fight. It went in as 8.625. Because of that five, it bumps it up to an 8.63. That puts it as the third best fight that we have ranked. It is below Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk in a way versus Luis Neri. So it is third on the ranking. It is right above Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin. Y'all gonna have a problem with that one. I can already tell you that much. We gonna hear it in the comments. We gonna hear Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis was definitely a lot better. Are you guys dumb? Are you guys a bunch of casuals? We gonna hear the comments. We read them. It's okay. But let me tell you something. The rankings, I mean, the way we ranked it through those four categories, excitement, impact, stakes, and strategy, it's third. With that being said, last question, Breezy. Who is next for Claressa Shields? I'm gonna make this nice and quick since we only got 3 minutes in the Zoom. I think that she should go after Amanda Serrano or Katie Taylor, the winner of those two, and make it a super fight in women's boxing. I believe if she fights the winner of those two, it's the biggest fight in women's boxing history, and I think that's what she should go after. But I'd love to hear your opinion. Think she should stay in heavyweight? Think she should go after one of those opponents, maybe even Alicia Bumgarner? Give me your thoughts. Who should Claressa Shields fight next?
Only right answer. Ain't no other answer but that. That's the only right answer. That's gonna feed babies, mamas, dads, grandpas, momos, stepdads, stepmother, all that. It's gonna feed whole families and whatnot. So that's the only answer.
That fight happens, I want that to be a 12-round fight. So Mauricio Suleiman and WBC, I saw what y'all don't think we forgot about what y'all did to Amanda Serrano by stripping her the WBC belt or making the WB not stripping it, but making the WBC belt not contendable in 12-round fights. Don't think we forgot about that. This should be a 12-round fight. You see what happened last time Amanda Serrano was in a 12-round fight. It was a banger. So make that fight happen. If it's Amanda Serrano, Serrano versus Claressa Shields, that'll sell. If it's Katie Taylor, Claressa Shields versus Katie Taylor, possibly overseas, not in Ireland, not in the United States, but possibly overseas. Let's make that fight happen. You know what I'm saying? Either way, both of those fights are bangers, and I gotta see them, man. So with that being said, the winner of Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 2, or the winner of that trilogy should face Claressa Shields next, and there should be the undisputed titles on the line for that as well. So that's what we would like to see next from Claressa Shields. With that being said, we just want to say congratulations to Claressa Shields on this monumentous victory in her career. As far as Vanessa Lepage, Joanisse, keep your head up. I mean, you didn't get the chance to showcase what you were made of in this fight, but we know Vanessa's a dog. We know she'll bounce back. And with that being said, Breezy, we have 1 minute before this Zoom meeting ends. Would you like to close it out real quick? You're on the
I'm gonna
clock.
close.
Go.
It's the Punches Point. We live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays. Excuse me. And y'all just make sure y'all stay up to date with us. It's the Punches Point. We live. Make sure y'all stay on point with the Punches Point.